everyone. Happy Monday. Excited to be with everyone today. I hope everyone had a great holiday weekend. I know I certainly did. So I can only wish everyone else the same. Let me know in the comments if you did anything special or spectacular. What were your fireworks like? Did you go see the fireworks? Did you just spend the weekend at home having like a nice holiday? I know I certainly did. I got a lot of rest and relaxation, so it was really great. And so I'm happy to be with you guys. So if this is your first time here on the Janelle Villiers podcast, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I am all about what is necessary, what it takes, tips, secrets, all the different things for writing and self-publishing your book. So if you are here and you've been thinking, man, I really want to publish my book by December, you're in the right place. You're in the right place because we're going to be talking about a lot of different things that could be really helpful for you. So today in particular, and please, if you have a specific question regarding this, please put that question in the comments because I can do a whole new show just about your question alone. I'm more than certain. There are certain things that just come up all the time. So today we're going to be talking about why publishing without beta readers is author suicide. Dun, 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 dun. Ah. So let's get into some of that. As you guys know, I always have my notes because I don't want to miss a thing. Okay. So first of all, what are beta readers? Beta readers are a group of people who essentially agree or volunteer to read your manuscript before you actually publish it. Oftentimes you're getting feedback from them. Was the writing style good? Was there anything that was confusing? Something that you, would you recommend this book to someone else, right? Things like that. And then you use that feedback to then just strengthen your book, right? Strengthen your manuscript before you actually go to publishing. Beta readers typically are the people in your network, people who are already fans of yours. People who like to read and would love to read your work. Sometimes it's the people in your book, right? Sometimes your book is loosely based on your own life. And so there are some people or some characters in your book that you would love for them to now see themselves in your book, that type of a thing. Any one of those people could be your beta readers, and they end up being really, 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 really helpful for your work. I would also recommend, if at all possible, getting people who are outside of your network or people who don't necessarily know you, because then these are the people who you know are going to be giving you feedback because they don't know you. They don't know you from Adam, and they just want to make sure that they answer the questions as truthfully as possible given their read. And so when you work with us at Say That Publishing, we are able to find those beta readers for you. We can find people. We're going to ask you to find some beta readers, people in your network, people who are like your biggest fans. But then also we're going to find some beta readers as well who don't know you. So then you can get like a mix of feedback that will be really helpful. Oftentimes people will be your target audience and some of them won't be. And so you want a mix of that as well, because you're just trying to figure out what can be added, taken away, edited in order to make the book stronger, right? Everybody just wants to have the best product that they can have at the end of the day. So why does not having beta readers actually set you up to fail for your book, right? And I want to talk about what that looks like. So why is publishing without beta readers author suicide? Let's first take a look at the costly mistakes beta readers catch that you just can't see. 3 of them include plot holes and logistic gaps, pacing and flow issues, and clarity and comprehension problems. So plot holes and logistic gaps, right? Like a lot of times we're so dialed into our own writing that we can't see the inconsistencies because we know it. We know the story. We're writing the story, so we know all of it. And beta readers can actually spot those inconsistencies. They can spot timeline errors, character contradictions. A fresh set of eyes can catch missing information that seems obvious to us, right? The authors who are writing it, and sometimes even the editors, right, who are editing it because we've been looking over it several times. But fresh eyes can catch this type of thing, which is so helpful because of course you want to fix that before you publish it. In terms of pacing and flow issues, writers can we can't really judge if scenes drag or rush. We may feel like they do, but like we're just too close to it, right? So beta readers can identify where things lag and then where things seem a bit confusing or rushed. And this can actually reveal where they might actually put the book down or whether they're going to keep reading based on, the pacing and all that stuff. So that's a really great reason to definitely have beta readers. You want people to keep reading your book, right? Get beta readers. The other thing that we talked about is the third point actually is clarity and comprehension problems. So we just kind of assume that readers have the context, but a lot of times they don't because we didn't put in the context. So they'll point out if something's missing contextually. They'll point out if there's like technical jargon or unclear explanations. They'll also point out when there's been some sort of assumption that they're supposed to know something that they don't. All of this can get pointed to and then corrected. So that way, again, we want people to continue reading your book, not just put it down. Okay, so I'll give you one horror story about an author who skipped this step. So there was a romance author who published without beta readers and received more than 50 one-star reviews, all of them citing plot holes. And so this was really bad, right? Because then in terms of the algorithm on Amazon, they're not going to get picked up because they've only got 1 star out. Amazon doesn't want to put out like 1-star material. So that doesn't help. So another example is that, there were another author who wrote a business book, right? So this is for all my coaches out there. And they wrote a book and they didn't realize that they had some facts that essentially were errors. And the beta readers could have caught that, but they didn't. And now you lose credibility as an author because you have these facts that aren't real, right? That are not true. And so you definitely don't want to do that. I want to make sure that you guys keep your credibility, make sure people, again, continue to read your book. Because you don't want people to put it down because they don't believe anything that you say because you just, essentially said something that was false. And if your book has a poor book reception, like if it's just being received really poorly, you're getting only 1 stars, there are facts that are missing, all these types of things, then you're less likely to get a speaking opportunity. I mean, I talk about this a lot about how you can make money from your book, not necessarily from the sale of the book, but from the book in other ways. And one of them is through speaking engagements. And if you end up having a bad reputation because of this book, you're just not going to get as many speaking engagements, right? It's kind of like you kind of leave a bad taste in people's mouth when they find out that like your book isn't that good. So you can spend a lot of money on marketing. You can spend all your time and attention into, making sure the cover looks great. But if the content actually isn't good, and all of this could have been solved by just having some beta readers, but if you don't do that, you end up wasting money, right? And time for marketing, wasting money and time with like this crazy, amazing cover design, wasting your time and energy, even writing the book to begin with, right? And then only for it to get bad reviews or not to be received well, when all you were trying to do is positively impact people in the first place. So don't just it's much better to have beta readers. I don't want your books to fail. I just don't want your books to fail. So how can you find these quality beta readers? I already talked about this. So these are people in your network. Some of them are going to be like your target audience. So if you have people that you want to target, you're going to look for those people and say, hey, would you mind reading an advanced copy of my book before I publish it? I'm just trying to get some feedback. You can go to Facebook groups or different forums or communities. And then you can also offer reciprocal beta reading relationships. So if they ever decide to write a book, you say like, look, I'll read your book too when it's time for you to get beta readers. Like I said, a lot of times it's like your friends, your family, colleagues, people who are already in your network. Some maybe it's already clients that you have, those types of things, all people who would definitely be worthy to ask to be a beta reader. Again, if you work with, say, that publishing, we will also provide some beta readers as well, because we also really love adding in the mix some people who are not in your network, people who don't necessarily know you, but who love to give feedback on these types of things. Also, with Janelle Villiers Partnerships, I've created a community of authors who are always looking to support each other. And so I dip into the community that I've created with the JV Partnerships in order to also help those who are publishing their books with Say That Publishing to be able to have beta readers. So I mean, if you work with us, you're going to get a lot of this. And so please, we love to be able to provide this for people because, again, we don't want your book to fail. We want it to do really well. So these are different ways that you can get and find your beta readers. Okay, so when you finally do have the beta readers, you want to make sure that you're getting a particular feedback. One is where readers wanted to stop reading versus where they couldn't put it down. Where they felt connected to characters versus when they felt annoyed by certain characters, and any scenes that seemed confusing or pulled them out of the story. You want to also track their emotional response. So you want to know if any like intended emotional parts actually landed for the readers. Maybe you want to check in if there were unexpected emotional reactions that reveal certain problems with the story, or any moments that felt unauthentic or forced, or even manipulative, right? Anything like that, you want to make sure that that gets pointed out, because that, again, you want to correct those things before you actually go to publish. And then any marketing insights, actually. So how would readers describe your books to friends? How would your readers describe your book to friends? That's a great question to ask them. Which genre or category they would place it in, whether the cover and description match the actual content. That's if you give them the cover. And so these are some things that you want to make sure that your beta readers, that you get feedback from them, because this would be really, really helpful as you move forward with the publishing process. Again, I would say that publishing, not only do we help you find the beta readers, but we actually create the survey with you. We also follow up with the beta readers. We do follow-up emails to make sure that everybody who's in the beta reader team stays committed to their goal, because we usually give them a deadline, right? Like, oh, you need to read 1/3 of the book in 4 weeks. You've got 4 weeks to do this. You've got 3 weeks to do this, right? So we got to just like check in with everybody, make sure they're on pace and on track. Very recently, we have a client who just entered the beta reading period, and so everybody who's reading her book, they were given 25 days to read 100. I think it's 135 or 45 pages. I can't remember right now. Anyway, they were given. Or maybe it's 125. The point is, when we did the math, it was 5 pages a day. So 5 pages a day for 25 days, you guys do the math, you will have read what was required of you for the beta readers. So we love doing that. We love providing the encouragement. We love following up with people. Otherwise, you got to do this yourself, right? So if you're looking for any help with that, please reach out to me, because I would love to be able to help you with that part of your book writing. All right, so I like to do a summary. So let's get a summary of all the things that are going to be helpful for you as you continue to write your book, and particularly why it's important to have beta readers, because if you don't have them, it's just a higher likelihood that your book won't be as good. So costly mistakes that beta readers catch that you can't see: plot holes and logistics gaps, pacing and flow issues, clarity and comprehension problems. Beta readers can catch all of those and definitely will make your book stronger if you get that information from them. We talked about different horror stories of people who skipped this crucial step, right? So there was a romance writer who got over 50 reviews that were only 1 star, and they were all citing plot holes, right? So we want to fix that. We also talked about some other authors, a business author who had some errors. And so the beta readers could have caught it, but because they didn't have beta readers, the errors weren't fixed. And now you've lost your credibility. You've lost, people don't want to necessarily give you the opportunity for speaking engagements, because now your book just is received very poorly. And now you've spent all this money on marketing, cover design, and let's not forget the time and the that you took just to write the book in the first place. Almost seems like a waste, right? It's down the drain because simple little thing, you didn't get the beta readers. So we talked about how to find quality beta readers. So you definitely want to go to find people who match your target audience. And a really easy way to do that is to go to relevant Facebook groups, different forums, different communities. We're talking about if your book is fiction, is it sci-fi, is it fantasy, is it romantic, is it a romantic comedy, things like that. So you want to find your people there. If you're a coach, right? What specific audience is your book specifically looking to help? And then you want to find people in those types of groups who would be helped by this type of work that you've produced. So that type of thing. You want to find people in your target area. Also, you're going to be asking friends, family, in your circle, your network of people, colleagues, clients, people who like to read, people who are your big fans already, so that you just ask them, hey, would you mind reading an advanced copy? And another great way, work with Say That Publishing. If you work with me in Say That Publishing, we will help you find beta readers, and we'll also organize the follow-up and all that stuff to make sure that they get the reading done. We'll also help create the survey to make sure that we get the responses that we're looking for. So let's talk about that. Some responses in terms of feedback that you want to make sure that you get from your beta readers is, where do the readers want to stop reading versus couldn't put it down, which characters they connected with versus some they found annoying, any scenes that were confusing or pulled them out of the story, whether there was an intended emotional part that actually landed, you want to find that out, any unexpected emotional reactions, moments that felt authentic versus forced or manipulative, and how readers would describe your book. That would be great. How would they describe your book to friends? Which genre or category would they place it in? And whether the cover, if you gave it to them, and the description match what the actual content is. So these are really, really helpful. Again, I Say That Publishing, we make sure that these types of questions are in the survey, so that way we can make the book the strongest we can make it. So that is hopefully why you guys, after all of that, now have a clear understanding as to why beta readers are so important. If you have any questions, or rather first, if this gave you value, if you found this really helpful, please go ahead and put a V in the comment section, so that way I know that this was valuable to you. Please share this with any of your friends that are aspiring authors or people who wrote books but maybe just didn't do the beta reader thing. Like, they need to know this is super important in the process, and you need to make sure that this happens. So I love being with you guys. Put any other questions or any other topics that you want me to talk about in terms of writing a book, put that in the comment section. I read all of the comments, and either I will answer the question outright, or I'll create an entire episode around your question. Would love to do that to help everybody out. So that is my time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and do the notifications so you don't miss any episodes. Please, this is just an honest request. If you really like the content, you think it's valuable, simply just subscribe. I mean, this is what it's free, right? You know, it doesn't cost you anything, and it tells the algorithm that what we're talking about here is actually valuable. So I appreciate you all. And the more subscribers we get, the more better guests we're going to get. I'm going to get some other authors on here with us soon. And I'm really looking forward to it. All right, everyone, take care. See you next week. Bye.